Hey, relatable people. It's your girl Ace, the relatable chick. Sit back, relax, and I'll provide you some content. I am a new YouTuber, so if you can hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, that would definitely help me in this ever changing YouTube algorithm. Okay, so how many of you were tuned into last night's Verzuz battle featuring the dynamic duo Mary Mary and the iconic and legendary duo BB and CC Winans? Now, if you're not familiar with either act, I'm going to provide a little bit of backstory for both. Now, we're going to start with BB and CC Winans. They are gospel entertainment royalty. They come from a very musically gifted family that is headed by Mom and Pop Winans, who are also gospel singers. Now, there are 10 siblings. There's Cece, BB, Pastor Marvin, Deborah, Ronald, Carvin, Angie, Michael, Daniel, and David Jr. Now, they have been around for a long time, and they definitely have set the standard for gospel. Between the whole family, they have 18 Grammys and have made countless and numerous appearances on TV shows. And BB and CC actually kind of got their start doing backup for Tammy Faye Baker. Now, BB and CC Winans were also very close friends with Whitney Houston and are the godparents to the late Bobby Christina, and Whitney Houston was actually the godmom to their kids as well. So not only are they gospel entertainment royalty, they have been rubbing shoulders with the best of the best for a very long time. So it was such a joy to actually see them on stage, and especially Cece. She has such a dynamic voice and a smile that will just light up the room. And she is also gospel music's most decorated act. She has sold over 17 million albums alone. CC Winans has showed us over the years why she is the best-selling gospel artist of all time and why she has deserved her Hollywood Walk of Fame star. The group Mary Mary also consists of siblings Erica and Tracina, also known as Tina Campbell. Their maiden name was Atkins, but they both ended up marrying two guys whose last name were Campbell, no relation. So they share the same last name, again, as Erica and Tina Campbell. They hail from Inglewood, California, and got their start in the late 90s with a publishing deal as writers. They were able to pen songs for box office hits such as The Prince of Egypt and Stuart Little. The Prince of Egypt is where they actually came up with their breakout hit Shackles, also known as Praise You. The song had so much buzz around it that they kept the song for themselves, and they ended up submitting another song to go on the soundtrack to fulfill their obligation. They were quickly creating a name for themselves, and there was even a bidding war to sign them. Even Diddy was interested in signing them at Bad Boy, and I'm glad that they didn't make that move because that is the place where careers die. And ultimately, they ended up signing with Columbia. They went from struggling artists to dominating the charts and acquiring 4 Grammys. 6 studio albums, and a reality TV show with 6 seasons that aired from 2012 to 2017. Unfortunately, the group split for a while, and Erica went on to have a solo career. And Tina took some time to focus on her personal life and to get closer to God after there was a big scandal with her husband cheating several times. But through all of the ups and downs, the sisters have remained close, and it was such a joy to see them together on stage, singing, smiling, and just looking so beautiful. I'm sure it's not easy working with family, especially your siblings, but one thing BB and CC Winans have in common with Mary Mary is that they have both done this so gracefully. I thoroughly enjoyed watching both groups, but to be honest, I was thinking to myself that I would have loved to see a versus between the Clock Sisters and their family versus BB and CC Winans and their family. Both groups come from big families and they're both from Detroit, Michigan, so that would have been just epic. The Versus battle was hosted by one of my favorite comedians, which is Kev on Stage, and I want you guys to let me know in the comments, how do you think he did? Now, under any other circumstances, I think that Kev is very funny and he has the perfect balance of wholesome and comedy, and he just delivers those dad jokes like no other. But for some reason, I felt like he was doing a little too much. Like, everybody has that one funny uncle or that one funny cousin that kind of just overdoes it and doesn't know how to just end the joke. And that's the energy that I was getting from him last night. But I kind of think that he was nervous. So we're just going to leave it at that. And then next, let's talk about these fashions. So what did you guys think about the fashion choices last night by BBCC and Mary Mary? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. BB Winans has gotten so handsome over time. I mean, he's just over there aging like fine wine. But his ensemble didn't wow me. Now, CC Winans is so beautiful and her smile is so gorgeous that she could have had on a potato sack and she still would have lit up the room. But that red glitter two-piece or jumpsuit or whatever that was, I was not feeling it. It did nothing for her figure. It wasn't flattering at all. Her outfit actually reminded me of something that you would probably wear for New Year's Eve. Now, Mary Mary are both beautiful ladies, Erica and Tina, and they both have body for days. But one thing I noticed that with these church ensembles, they tend to use polyester, and if it's not done or if it's not cut right, then it tends to look cheap. So their outfits were both cute, but they were both teetering on the lines of looking a little cheap. Their makeup was cute, their hair was meh, but overall, their vocals carried. Now, for both groups, if it wasn't for the backing tracks, they probably would have been in trouble. And it doesn't seem that either group really practiced before they performed. CC Winans had to keep looking at her phone. She was missing words, and at times even Mary Mary had to fill in the gaps for her. But to her credit, CC Winans has wrote and sung hundreds and hundreds of songs over the years, so it would probably be impossible to remember every single lyric. But Miss Mamas, you could have practiced some. They were definitely not the best performances that I've seen from either group, but it was nostalgic. That's what it was for. It was for the feels, it was for the vibes, and it provided that. Now we're gonna go over the rounds, and in the comments you guys tell me who you think won. So round one was Mary Mary, and they performed Believer versus BB and CC Winans, Close to You. And I'm gonna go with BB and CC on this one with Close to You. Now round two consisted of Mary Mary, and they did Thankful versus BB and CC, Love Said Not So. And I'm gonna go with Mary Mary with Thankful for that one. Round three was Mary Mary, Ordinary People versus BB and CC Winans, Feels Like Heaven. And we're gonna go with BB and CC Winans, Feels Like Heaven. Round four was Mary Mary, and they performed Survive versus BB and CC, Change Your Nature. And the winner was BB and CC Winans with Change Your Nature. Round five consisted of Mary Mary, What a Friend versus BB and CC Winans, I Owe You, Me. And the winner was Mary Mary, What a Friend. So round six was Mary Mary, I Worship You versus CC Winans, Don't Cry. And the winner was Mary Mary, I Worship You. Round seven, That was Tina Campbell, and she performed Destiny versus BB and CeCe Winans, Meantime. And the winner was Tina Campbell with Destiny. Round 8, Mary Mary performed Real Party versus BB and CeCe Winans, Celebrate New Life. And the winner was BB and CeCe Winans with Celebrate New Life. Round 9 was Mary Mary He Said versus BB and CeCe Winans with If Anything Ever Happened to You. And we're going to go with BB and CeCe Winans with that win. Round 10 was Erica Campbell, Positive versus CeCe Winans and Whitney Houston with Count on Me. And guys, that was unanimous. Of course, it was CeCe Winans and Whitney with Count on Me. That song is classic, it's timeless, it's beautiful. I remember when I was younger and we would have our own talent shows. My cousins and I, that was my cousin's go-to song. And she swore that she was singing circles around us. So that song definitely brought back a lot of fond memories. I can't remember the DJ's name from last night, but shout out to him. He held the crowd down. He had me moving in my seat, and it was a joy to listen to him as well. It was a couple of notable mentions in the crowd. I saw Megan Good's ex-husband, Devin, looking like a little snack pack, so I'm glad that he's out enjoying himself amidst the drama that's surrounding him and Megan. If I missed anything in this review, please just leave it in the comments. And this week's number for you to enter the cash draw is 11. So leave your Cash App, your PayPal, Venmo, or your email address if you would like to be contacted that way. And let me know that you guys finished the video and your thoughts on this Verzuz. Who would you guys like to see the next Verzuz battle between?